everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with another video, and this time I'm going to be doing my nails for my trip. So first thing that I'm doing is I'm going in with a nail clipper to just trim down my nails. As you guys know, my pet peeve is my nails being long underneath my acrylic nails, and that's usually why I always decide to do a new set, because my nails underneath start to get a little too long. After I trim the nails, I'm going in with this OPI cuticle pusher, and I'm just pushing back the cuticles. Remember that when you're doing this is exposing your new growth, as well as making sure that it prevents lifting. Next, we're going to go in with a 180 sanding mitt to remove the shine from the natural nail. Remember, you don't want to use anything more coarse than a 180 because you will damage the natural nail. Remember that you want to make sure that you get around that cuticle area really good, because a lot of the time that's where your lifting will start at. Alrighty, so same thing for the other hand. Again, I'm just removing the shine from the natural nail. And remember that you could always just use a regular hand file as well if you don't have a drill, or also if you just don't feel comfortable using a drill. It will take a little bit of time for you to finally get comfortable, using the drill, whether it's on yourself or on your clients. But the only way to get better is just by using it. And of course, you're gonna have those times where you accidentally cut someone, but a lot of the time, things just cannot be prevented. So just keep practicing and you'll get better with time. So again, we're just finishing off removing the shine from the natural nails, and after this we're going to be applying the nail tips. So now I'm just going to be dusting off the nails, and after this we're going to apply the nail tips. So I'm going to be using the natural nail tips, and I'm also going to be using my KDS glue. So remember that when you're applying nail tips, if one tip is too small and the other one is too big, always go with the one that's a little bit bigger and just file it down on the sides. If you apply the one that's too small, the nail is going to want to come back up, and eventually it's going to break or it's going to cause lifting. So again, if the nail tip is too small, go with the bigger one and just gently file the sides down to fit perfectly. Also, make sure that before you apply the tip, again, you measure that nail. Then you apply the glue on the nail, place it on the nail, hold it for a few seconds, and then let it go. Another thing that you want to make sure that you do is that when you measure the nail tip, you want to make sure that the nail tip goes from sidewall to sidewall. You don't want the nail or the side of the nail hanging off. You want that nail tip to cover the entire nail. And then also you don't want it being too big, because it's going to look really fake, because it's going to be really wide. And then it could also cause lifting because the nail tip is hanging off the side of the nail. So again, it has to fit from sidewall to sidewall. And then once you apply the glue on the nail tip, place it on the nail, hold it, and that's pretty much it. And then also, for those of you that are just beginning, I think I've mentioned this before in my videos, but your nail tips will come in numbers. I'm pretty sure you all know that. But your number 9 or 10 are always going to be your smallest nail tips, and your number 0 and 1 are going to always be the bigger tips, which will be the ones for your thumbs. So once you get the hang of doing nails, and once you've been doing them for so long, you will eventually know what number goes on what nail. You kind of can guesstimate it. So again, your number 0 is your largest nail, and the number 9 or 10 are your smallest nails. Okay, so after we finish applying the nail tips, I'm going in with my tip cutter and I'm just trimming down the nails. Again, I do want them a little bit longer than I had them the last time. So once you cut them, just look at them, and of course, if they're your nails, you know, if you want them a little bit shorter, then just cut them down some more. Or, you know, if you're doing them on a client, be sure to ask them before you do the other hand if they're okay, and then if not, then of course just cut them a little bit more. And then also making sure that you measure each nail against each other, that way they're all the right size. So after I finish trimming down the nails, I'm going to go in with a straight edge nail clipper, and I'm just going to trim down the sides of the nails as well because I do want them coffin. So this is just going to save us time whenever we come in to shape the nail. After that, we're going to go in with a 100-100 nail file, and we're just going to be reshaping the nails. Remember that when we want that coffin shape, we alternate from side to side at a 45-degree angle, making sure that we don't file too much on one side because then the nail is going to be crooked. Once you file both sides at a 45-degree angle and you have the width that you want, then you just file the free edge at a 90-degree angle to make sure that the free edge is super straight. So again, 45 degrees on the sides and then a 90-degree angle at the free edge to make sure that tip is really straight. And then also, if you have to turn your finger, you know, a certain way to be able to file it when you're doing them on yourself, but when you're doing it on your client, make sure that you're holding their fingers super straight. And then also that you look at the nail from the sides, or, you know, if you want to lift the fingers up to make sure that you like look at it and make sure that they're straight. And also, another thing that I do when I'm shaping the nails is just blend the nail tip right in the middle. And that's just going to help the tip look a lot more natural once we apply the acrylic. And you just use that same file and just file the middle of the nail tip where the natural nail and the tip meet. And then we're also doing the same thing on the other hand, but except for this one, instead of moving my file back and forth, I kind of just move my fingers back and forth against the file, and that helps with speeding up the process for this hand. So when you're doing your nails, you're gonna have to find, you know, little tricks that work for you to help speed up the time, or even that just help with doing your nails in general. So again, I hold the file with my left hand, and then I move my right hand up and down against the file, but we're doing the same thing, 45 degree on the sides and 90 90-degree angle on the free edge. And then as you can see, I'm just using this little nail polish to rest my finger on it. That way I can get the perfect free edge. Alrighty, so up next, we're going to go in with the acrylic. So I'm using my Mia Secret acrylic system as always. I'm using their monomer, the Mia Secret pink acrylic, which I get the big bottle. I'm going to go ahead and fill up my little dapping dish or my container. And I'm also using the Viva paper towels that I get from Dollar General. And then I'm also going to be using one of the AB glitters by Nail Supply Glamour. And it's really, really pretty. And I did make a video of me actually reviewing those, but I will be doing a swatch video pretty soon. So anyways, before we apply the acrylic, as always, we want to go in and apply the primer. I'm using my OPI Bondex and I'm just applying it on the natural nail. Okay, so now after we apply the primer, I'm going to go in with the acrylic, and I just spilled my monomer. But anyways, I'm going to go in and just grab a small bead of the Mia Secret pink acrylic. We're going to place it all over the nail. And this is just going to work as a base for the glitter. That way, if I want to remove the glitter the next time, I can just file it off. But remember, the glitters, the AB glitters by Nail Supply Glamour already have acrylic in them. So I don't have to dip my brush into the liquid and powder. And then the acrylic, I just dip it into the liquid and then into the glitter. And again, it already has the acrylic. But anyways, then we get a small bead of the AB glitter, place it on the nail, and y'all, this glitter is so freaking pretty. I am going to be doing a swatch video on all 12 of the glitters really soon. But y'all, it's so freaking pretty. So I'll be sure to leave the link in the description as well as the promo code. And hopefully they already restocked on them, because I know the last time they were still out of stock. But we placed the layer all over the nail, and then now we're going to go in with the Mia Secret pink acrylic to encapsulate that. As always, you can go in and just use a clear acrylic when you encapsulate nails, but my Mia Secret pink is pretty translucent, so I like to just go ahead and use that one. So remember that when you're encapsulating this glitter, you want to make sure that you apply enough acrylic to where when you come back to file the nails, you're not going to file any of the glitter off. And then also while you're working, you're going to be able to tell if the glitter is completely encapsulated, because if not, it's going to look a different color. Like usually when it's completely encapsulated, it looks more dull, but if it's not, then it's going to still be really shiny. So again, we're just going in and encapsulating the acrylic, and then we're going to move on to the rest of the nails. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the thumb. So this one is just going to be the regular 4-ball method. So I placed the first one right in the middle of the nail where the natural nail and the tip meets. We're brushing it down towards the tip, making sure that we're really gentle not to remove that acrylic when we're brushing it down. The next bead is right below that one. Again, just placing it down, patting it down, and then just gently brushing it down towards the tip. And then also make sure that, as always, when you're working, you're wiping off your brush a lot. And then also making sure that you're using good paper towels, because if not, the acrylic will get stuck on your brush. If you're using paper towels that's not like that, don't observe the product when you're wiping it on the paper towel, if that makes sense. But again, we just placed the third bead closer to the cuticle area. Now we're placing a bead right in the middle, and this is just going to give us a good apex. Remember that when you're working, you want to make sure that you have a nice thickness. If not, just go in and add another bead wherever you need it. As you can see, I placed one right at the tip. And just look at the nail from the sides to make sure, you know, that it looks good. If not, just add a little bit more. And like I always said, you don't necessarily have to stick to a certain method. If you need to go add more acrylic, don't just think like, oh, I already applied the 4 beads, so I can go back and add more. Like, you definitely can add as much as you can, but make sure that you're not adding too much, because then you're going to have a lot of filing to do. And then again, I'm using my Alpha brush in a number 10. I highly recommend their brushes. They're really good. They work great for me. And I do have a promo code for them, so I will be sure to leave that down in the description. But this will actually be the last month that the promo code will work. Eventually, after this month, we're just gonna have a link where you can just click on the link, and it's gonna take you directly to the website, and you're not gonna have to use the promo code no more. But you will still get that 10% off. Again, it just won't be a promo code. But anyways, we're just finishing off the acrylic on this nail. Again, I'm doing the 4-ball method. And then, of course, if I need to add a little bit more, then I can go in and add more. So same thing, placing that first bead right in the middle of the nail where the natural nail and the tip meet. Patting it down, brushing it down towards the tip, wiping off the sides. If the acrylic starts to run on the side of the nails, you want to make sure that you wipe that acrylic as soon as it starts running over to the side. If you leave it there, it's going to dry up really fast, and then it's going to be nearly impossible to get the acrylic off the skin. And most likely you will get lifting. So make sure that, again, you wipe the sides of your nails a lot to make sure that the acrylic is not on the skin. And I cannot stress that enough, but that will cause lifting as well. Okay, so I'm finishing off this hand and I'm going to show you what it looked like. As you can see, that glitter looks pretty dull after we encapsulate it, and that's how you want it to look. So I'm going to get a little bit more monomer, and we're going to do the same thing on the other hand. Now, as you can see, I did switch over to this other brush. This brush is actually by Nail Supply Glamour, and I just want to see, you know, the difference between the two brushes. And honestly, they both work really, really good. But after this set, my brush actually broke in half. Like, it broke where the little gold piece is, and like the water didn't spill or anything, but the brush like literally just broke in the middle. So I don't know what happened there, but I actually really like this brush. But anyways, we're doing the same thing that we did on the other hand. We're gonna do the glitter on the index finger, and then the other nails are just gonna be the all pink Mia Secret acrylic, which is a really translucent pink, so they almost look really clear just with a little tint of pink. So remember that when you're doing your nails, you want to make sure that you have a nice thickness at the tip as well as a nice apex. That way, if you hit your nail on something, it's not going to break off. And actually, I just remembered that the brush did not break on this set. It actually broke on a previous set. And I realized it because I seen the top of the nail. So if you look at the tip of the brush, like the back of the brush, you can see where it's like white, I think. And that was actually what was at the front of the brush. So then I kind of just flipped the back of the brush and inserted where the gold piece is, and it kind of fit in there. And then I pressed the gold like metal like together so the brush will stay on there, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of making it work because again, I did like this brush and I hate that it broke off so easily. But anyways, we're just finishing off this set. I am gonna go ahead and do the glitter nail last because you know the glitter does get a little bit messy. So we're just doing the 4-bar method on the rest of the nails. Remember that when you're working, one of the most important things that I always say is you want to look at the nails from different sides. And what that means is you don't want to just do your nail and be looking at it from the top. Make sure that you turn it over to the side, and that's going to be able to show, that's going to show you your apex as well as, you know, the thickness at your tip, and then you will know if you need to add more acrylic or not. Alrighty, so now we're on the last nail, and as you can see, I did forget to add the layer of acrylic underneath, so I'm just gonna have to stick to keeping the glitter on this index finger, which I don't mind, but again, the glitter does have acrylic in it already, so that's why I'm not having to dip it into my Mia's Secret acrylic, but I'm just dipping the brush into the liquid and dipping it into the glitter and just placing it all over the nail, and then afterwards we're gonna go in and just encapsulate it. You could do it to where the glitter is not as full on the nail, but I do want that full coverage on my nail with the glitter. Again, afterwards we just come back in and encapsulate the nail with the Mia's Secret pink acrylic, or you can use clear, whatever you want to use is fine. Making sure that we clean around that cuticle area really good, and making sure that we encapsulate all of the glitter. That way when we come back to file, we're not going to file off any of the glitter. Alrighty, so this is the glitter that I use. It's the AB Glitter Acrylic and the #1 by Nail Supply Glamour. But anyways, after that, we're going to go ahead and just reshape the nails. So we're going to do a 45-degree angle on the sides, 90-degree on the free edge. And remember, you don't want to skip this step, because no matter how good your shape looks, a lot of the time you will still have those rough edges on the sides. So you just want to go back in and perfect your shape. Alrighty, so after we finish reshaping the nails, I'm going to go in with my e-file by McCart, And I'm also using my drill bits by McCart. This is a fine drill bit and it is a ceramic one. So as always, I first start around the cuticle area, working my way from the right side over to the left side, making sure that I file around there really good. That way I get no lifting. So again, start on the right side, work my way around to the left side, and then also filing the rest of the nail to make sure that it's all nice and even. So same thing, starting from the right side, going over to the left side around the cuticle area, going back and forth until you can see where the natural nail is, or sorry, where the cuticle is, where the natural nail is, and where the acrylic is. That way you know that the acrylic is not on the skin. And then just filing the rest of the nail to make sure it's nice and smooth. And usually my nails are already nice and smooth, so I don't have to do too much filing, but I do make sure that I file around that cuticle area really good. Okay, so I'm finishing off that hand. So now we're going to go ahead and switch over to the other hand. And it's going to be the same thing, making sure that you're careful though, because I am using my left hand to do my right hand, and I'm using the drill. So I am going to switch over to my hand file for just a little bit because I was having a hard time and I was having to do a little bit more filing around this cuticle area because I left that part a little bit too thick on this nail. So I'm just using that same 100 nail file, and I'm just thinning down the nails just a little bit because lately it's been a little bit harder for me to do or to file around that cuticle area with the drill without cutting myself. So you could always use a hand file to do an entire set. You don't have to use a drill, but it does help to speed up the process. Okay, so now I'm just switching back over to my fine drill bit, and I'm just finishing off around the cuticle area. The only thing about filing the nails with the hand file is that a lot of the time I feel like you can't get really close to that cuticle area, so then I feel like I'm gonna get lifting because I don't feel like I filed good enough around that cuticle area, if that makes sense. But again, we're just using the fine drill bit, filing around the cuticle area, and then also filing the rest of the nail to make sure that it's nice and smooth. So once we're done doing all of the filing, we're going to go in with the buffer. Remember, this is just to get rid of any of the scratches left on the nail from the hand file or the e-file. And also make sure that when you're doing this, you feel on the nail to make sure that it's nice and smooth. If not, of course, just go in and just file, or sorry, buff a little bit more until it's nice and smooth. Alrighty, so this is what the nails look like. I'm going to go ahead and go wash my hands and I'll be back. So this is what they look like after I washed them, nice and clean. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to do my pinky and my ring finger just blinked out with some pearls as well. So I'm just using this holographic silver polish by Born Pretty. I'll be sure to leave the link in the description as well as a promo code. So again, we're just using that same color on the ring finger and the pinky, and then on the other two nails I'm going to be using my bubble bath gel polish. Alrighty, so again, we did the bubble bath gel polish on the middle finger and the thumb. We're going to go ahead and cure them, and I'm using my Body UV LED lamp. Once we cure them for 30 seconds, we're going to go ahead and do a second coat of the bubble bath gel polish. Okay, so once we've cured the nails, we're going to go ahead and apply the bling. So as always, I'm using my Mia's Secret gel resin. I apply it on the nail, and then with my wax pencil, I'm going to be picking up the SS6 and SS12, placing them all over the nail, and then I'm also using some SS12 pearls, and I'm just going to do them randomly on the nail. But as always, I start around the cuticle area, working my way around the perimeter of the nail, and then just filling in the entire nail as I go, and then just adding more glue as we need it. So it's always like a little puzzle. You just alternate between the different sizes and just filling in the rest of the nail. Okay, so once we finish applying the bling on the nails, I'm just going in with that same Mia Secret Gel Resin, and I'm just outlining the perimeter of the nail with the glue. That way they stay on a lot longer. And that's what they look like. So now I'm just going to go in and apply the IBD Gel Top Coat. It's the same one that I always use, and you can find this on Amazon. So I'll be sure to leave the link in the description. So again, we're just going to go ahead and apply the top coat on all of the nails, and then we're going to cure this for 60 seconds. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and cure them, and this is what they look like. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other hand. So again, we're doing the holographic polish on the ring finger and the pinky, and then we're going to do the bubble bath on the middle finger and the thumb, and curing the bubble bath gel polish for 30 seconds. Once they've cured, we're going to go ahead and apply the bling on those two fingers as well. Again, we're using the Mia Secure Gel Resin. I'm using my wax pencil, my SS6, my SS12, and some pearls. And also, as always, I did spray the bling with the activator spray, and that just helps the glue dry a lot faster. And then I'm just going in and applying the top coat on the rest of the nails. Alrighty, so we're going to let that hand cure, and then I'm just showing you what this first hand looks like. As you can see, that glitter is so freaking pretty. So again, we're just curing the top coat for 60 seconds, and here is the final look. They turned out really pretty. That glitter went perfect with that bubble bath gel polish. They just look so clean and so freaking pretty. So as always, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at GetNailed32, and I'll see you guys next time.